What's up, guys? Welcome to the Being Beautifully Honest podcast and channel. Thanks so much for being here, for being subscribed. If you're not, go ahead and hit that button. And if you're listening on YouTube, hit that like button. It's like walking into the room and hitting that light switch. Let's brighten up the place and get into this conversation. I'm just getting a chance to touch on this, guys. I heard this over a week ago, and I was just like shaking my head, like, see, this is what I'm talking about. Because people can change, but they rarely do unless they really, really have to. And I didn't know a whole lot about djenvy, could care less. And to be honest with you, still don't really care. Because, it doesn't affect my personal life. But the reason why I want to talk about this is because one of the things that has aggravated me for the past several years because of things that I have seen as well as experienced myself, and I know of others that have experienced, not on the level that the investors of this Ponzi scheme has with djenvy and cesarpina, but people who get in positions, who have this gift of gab, who know how to speak really well, who get some sort of influence, and then they take advantage of people because they claim they want to help people get on, or they claim that they want to help people get to the next level. You know, things that a lot of us have heard a lot of. And a lot of these people, they're not about anything. They really are just about their pockets. But they like to claim that they're trying to uplift people. They're trying to help people to get in better positions. Or like we heard djenvy say, uplift the community. The thing that people really need to understand is the fact that uplifting the community, even those who claim that that's what they're trying to do, they're doing it most of the time for money. The ones who truly, truly, truly are just really about uplifting the community, those are usually the ones that are not benefiting at all, and they're not making any money, and they really just want to make a difference. But those who are actually living well and uplifting the community, they're doing it for profit. Period. They're doing it for profit. And that's not to say that none of them actually care at all, but they're not going to sacrifice themselves for the sake of saving others. So when you hear people like djenvy, who was saying they did what they did because they wanted to uplift the community, you really were just trying to uplift your pockets, you know? So it's just usually, unfortunately, it is a scam, or maybe not necessarily a scam in the way that djenvy and cesarpina was doing, but they're doing what they're doing for the profits. And so when djenvy made the statement that he never stole, when I heard this, tonythecloser shared this information, so I'm giving him this credit because this was on his channel. I was like, wow. I can't say I'm shocked because nothing really surprises me anymore, but you know what I mean? It's like you can't say out of one side of your mouth that you never stole anything from anyone, and then you're on record yourself as saying that you stole. But you don't want to give that any credit or say that that doesn't count. It absolutely 100% does count because it speaks to the character of the person. So I want to play a little bit of this and give a reaction to it because, like I said, when I heard this, I was like, see, here we go. Here we go.
I put up a post yesterday where djenvy said, I never stole from anybody in my life or whatever. Let me let you hear what he said.
Stole anything from anybody, and I'll just leave it at that. I just want to say this. I've never stole anything from anybody, and I'll just leave it at that. What? You know around with what? 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 And from what I was told, you should steal a lot of butt back in the day.
So y'all hear him right there say, hey, I never stole anything from anybody. Now, I want you to hear this.
The reason I say that is tell a story. I was I was raised very, very well. Parents always supported me. I got everything that I want. They pushed me to be better. But I always wanted to be liked as a kid. So
liked by friends,
liked by
girls,
liked by girls, guys, everybody. You know, I always wanted to be down. You know, and growing up in Queens, you've seen a lot of street life, street activity, drug dealers. You know, you would see people drive up and down with nice cars. You would see jewelry. You know,
there's a lot of places in New York, not just Queens, but yeah.
And then even with with music videos, you see people making a lot of money. So.
And videos were much bigger then than they are now.
So I wanted that stuff. So I remember going to college, and college was great. You know, I went to Hampton University, I went to Old Dominion, and I just remember hooking up with a bunch of people that were doing things that I didn't need to do, but I did it because I wanted to fit in. You know, and one of those things were I knew somebody that had a friend that worked at Costco.
Right. No, it wasn't Costco. It was Sam's Club.
Sam's Club.
Which, I think, is it just down south? It's, wherever it is. It's like a variation of a BJ's or a Costco, if you're not familiar.
It's called a Sam's Club. And they had a friend that worked there, and they told me that their friend was a security guard at the front door.
Right.
So they were like, what we do is we just go there with a shopping cart, fill it up, we have a fake receipt, walk right to the door, and drive out, and walk right out.
Because the security guard is informed. He's the one that checks the receipt, and he'll let you bypass and go out.
Right, and you would have to give him something, whether it was a DVD player at the time. That's when DVD players were big, or whatever it may be. I remember there was nothing in this planet, a world that I needed.
Right.
I had everything.
You had a dope apartment.
Right.
Fully stocked fridge.
Right.
Every electronic that you would need to make your life easy
Absolutely.
And entertained.
Right, so I remember, but some of my friends in college wasn't as lucky as I was. They struggled a little bit, like a lot of college students did. So when this happened, this was the come up. This was the lick. We used to call it a lick. This was the lick. And what I used to do is I used to dress up in a suit every Sunday morning.
Every Sunday morning?
Every Sunday morning. I'm just going to say allegedly, because I don't know if I can get in trouble for this, but I think I can.
How could you get in trouble for it?
All right, because I was convicted, right?
You already got in trouble for it.
Right. So I would dress up every
Sunday. It's like your audio memoir.
Right? I already got in trouble for it.
Exactly.
I would dress up every Sunday in a suit. And the reason I would dress up in a suit is because Sunday I would act like I went to church. So if you go into a department store or Sam's Club, if I'm wearing a suit, I wouldn't look strange. I wouldn't look out of ordinary. People wouldn't necessarily look at me as a thief. They would more look like, oh, he's just coming from church. I would just...
that was the mindset.
It worked. It worked. So I dressed up in a suit, and I would get a shopping cart from Sam's Club.
Now you hear him explaining these very explicit details from what he would claim would be many years ago when he was in college, of how he was so strategic in being a thief. So, I mean, you get my point, right?
I would fill it up with as much shit that I possibly could.
Sidebar, he kept all of this from me.
Right.
I had no idea that this was going on, because I think you knew that I would talk some sense into you.
Right. Well, so, and at the time, DVD players were big.
Ironically, you hear his current wife, saying how he kept that from her. So, is that similar to what's going on right now, where he kept these things from her and she wasn't aware of what was going on? And that's quite possible.
Like massagers, stupid shit.
Yeah.
Blenders.
It was the kind of massager that you would lay over like a lounge chair or something, and it would massage you in the chair.
Right.
At
the time, plasmas weren't really they didn't have plasmas.
No, not at that time.
They had small TVs, it would be
LCDs.
The LCDs. All types of just shit. I put it there, and then I would just walk right out. He'd look at the receipt, and I'd walk out. I did this about 3-4 times.
I think so.
3-4 times did it, and then, of course, like everything else, dude got caught.
Right.
Security guard got caught. Now, the way he got caught was Sam's Club was missing because it wasn't just me doing it. His friends, other people were doing it. It was a bunch of people doing it.
Whole conspiracy.
But I did it not because necessarily I needed the money, but the people that I did it with was my peoples.
Mm-hmm.
So I just did it to be down, which is whack, horrible,
Be down,
cowish, soft. But at the time, I just was like, we just all doing it. It's like we all do some stupid shit because we all do it. And a lot of people get in trouble for doing things like this.
Mm-hmm.
So I just remember the guy got caught because Sam's Club let's say Sam's Club lost $300,000 in that quarter. And they couldn't figure out how they lost $300,000. Now, I knew Sam's Club didn't have cameras because I scouted the place out.
Did you hear that? This does not sound like some amateur criminal. I knew they didn't have cameras because I scouted the place out.
So they would go to every employee and be like, look, we got you on camera. We know you sold this stuff. Just confess and let's let it go.
Mm-hmm.
And, most employees be like, I don't know what you're talking about. All right, you can leave. Go to another play. They say the same thing. Another play be like, what the fuck are you talking about? I didn't do nothing. And let them leave.
Mm-hmm.
The security guard that I knew through a friend, they said the same thing to him. And what did he say? All right, you got me. He told on himself. So now the problem with that was when they said, okay, who else is involved? He didn't know who else was coming in and out the store. The only person that he knew was me.
Right.
And he knew me not because of my real name, because I was the DJ on campus, DJ Djenvy.
Mm-hmm.
And so he was doing this, and he was pretty well known. You know what I mean? So this doesn't sound too unfamiliar for him at this point in time, where he's trying to claim, I had no knowledge, I wasn't privy to it, and neither did I know. Like, those are his words. And him being well known, well recognized. Of course, he wasn't who he is today back then, but he's claiming that he was, the one that people were familiar with back then. And he was doing it then. So, yeah.
So long story short.
Now, how old are you at this point?
I was, a sophomore in college or junior in college?
I think it was your sophomore year.
Sophomore.
No. It was junior year because you were living at the other apartment, not the Harbors. Go ahead.
Junior year in college.
How old that make you?
I was about, 20?
20 is a 19 or 20? Probably 19.
19 or 20.
Yeah, 19.
So I get to, one day I'm driving home. And when I get to my
this
apartment,
day, I remember like it was enter Gia into the story.
I get to my apartment. And when I get to my apartment, I notice that the door's off the hinges.
Mm-hmm.
Now, the apartment complex that I lived in Hampton, Virginia, they didn't allow students there. So I had to damn near lie and do all types of shenanigans to get in this apartment. It was like a really upscale apartment.
Right.
So there was no other students.
So he was familiar with doing things that he needed to do to get into a very, I guess, exclusive apartment community. Like, this is something that he was able to pull off, and he made it work.
When I would go to, when I would go to my apartment, I would see all my neighbors kind of look at me funny because they knew that I did some funny business to get there.
Mm-hmm.
So one neighbor that I would see all the time smoking a cigarette, he was always outside smoking a cigarette.
Mm-hmm.
So when I got there, I see my door off the hinges, I knocked on his door. And I was like, I know you seen...
You're always out here with that cigarette.
Outside with that cigarette.
Uh-huh.
And I remember like yesterday, he puffed his cigarette. He was like, he pulled the cigarette like...
They can't see you.
Oh, they can hear it. I'm acting right now. Action. He pulled on the cigarette, blew it out at me. He said, the police. I said, what? He said, the police came in here. That's what the police come in here for. So I dialed 911. 911 was emergency.
Why were y'all just at my crib?
I was like, why y'all at my crib? So they was like, they was like, well, hold on. And then they was like, well, there's a warrant on your refrigerator. So I went into the refrigerator and I see it was a warrant. They said they believed that I was in possession of stolen property. Now, I'm not going to lie. There was no stolen property in my apartment. I was not stupid enough to leave this. I mean, I was stupid enough to do it, but
okay.
But I was not.
So where I was going with that.
I was not stupid enough to leave the stolen property in my apartment. So all the stuff that they took was my shit.
Well, see, you left that part out. They came and they took everything
Everything on the phone
that could have possibly been sold at Sam's Club out of his electric. They took out of his apartment.
Right. So they took everything. Everything out of my apartment that I really purchased, they took.
Right.
I didn't even say I purchased. My mom purchased.
Exactly.
My mom purchased, they took.
So wait, where were all the stolen goods?
I'll never tell to this day. I'll never tell to this day. I have friends. The friends, they were out selling this stuff. Like, I didn't.
Is that what was happening?
Yeah, they were selling it. They were selling it. And if you heard a couple of episodes ago when we talked about the cheating story, we talked about that one friend that was crazy, Lil Sean.
Yeah.
Lil Sean was the one selling it. Shout out to Lil Sean.
See, now that allegedly.
So
I gotta pause this real quick. I want you to hear this nigga snitch on his man, throw him under the bus. He was saying allegedly and all that for him. And then I want you to protect yourself. I just want you to pay attention. I wish I had a Funk Flex bomb right now I could drop, but just listen to this part right here.
Is that what was happening?
Yeah, it was selling it. It was selling it. And if you heard a couple of episodes ago when we talked about the cheating story, we talked about that one friend that was crazy, Lil Sean.
Yeah.
Lil Sean was the one selling it. Shout out to Lil Sean.
See, now that allegedly.
So
you only throw the allegedly in there when you're trying to protect yourself.
You're right. But
Okay.
It's been past. It's been over 10 years. All right, but anyway, so it was
over 10 years. Wow, more than that.
I'm not trying to show my age. I just said over 10.
I was supposed to be like, your math is bad.
No, stop trying to age me. I'm only 29.
Go ahead.
It's 10 years. All right, anyway. So, they said it was on a warrant was on the thing. So, the first thing that I did, and this is what you should tell your kids, even if you have teens or even if you're a teen listening, because we have young listeners as well, 16, 15 sometimes. If you ever get into trouble, never go to the police station yourself. My dad is a police officer. His first thing that he always tells me is, the police are not your friends.
Ever.
So you hear that, and most of us, we've heard him say that before, that his dad is a police officer. So we already know that just because you have a family member that is in law enforcement, it does not make you an upstanding individual, if you will. Because, I mean, there's some people who are in law enforcement that are not upstanding individuals, and we already know that. So it's just like, him sharing all of this, when he shared this, whenever it was that he shared this, like Tony the Closer said, you hear him talking about throwing his friend under the bus. So is this something that is happening in real time as we speak right now when it comes to cesarpina?
Unless they're trying to protect your life in the interrogation room. They're never your friends in the interrogation room. We can't say that police aren't your friends, but in an interrogation room, they're never your friends.
No, pretty much they're never your friends. But and the reason I say that is the police have a job and they have an investigation to do. You can be innocent of something, but they go where the evidence leads them. So even though that you say, okay, I did nothing wrong, know that they still have to do an investigation. That's what my pops always said about the police.
That's what I'm saying. In an interrogation room, you can't say the police are never your friends.
Okay.
Right?
Yeah, right.
You're the son of a retired detective.
And my dad tells me that. I mean...
But the police are intact to protect society.
Right.
Not that it always happens that way.
Right.
But, one bad egg doesn't spoil the dozen.
Absolutely.
So let's say that. But in an interrogation room, your interest has to be yourself.
In a criminal investigation, and there's
your
police
interest
around,
has to be yourself.
Protect yourself, regardless.
Exactly.
Even if you did absolutely positively nothing, even if there's no way that it can lead to you, you protect yourself.
Right.
So I called the lawyer. And that really helped me out 1,000,000,000%. Most people that went to the police department was like, well, the police don't have no evidence on me. But I called the lawyer, and I never had an opportunity to talk to a cop. They had to go through the lawyer. The hardest part of that was I had to tell you, and I had to call home and tell my mom.
Yes.
And it was a scary situation. Very scary. I mean, I was all over the newspaper in Hampton University, in Hampton. They tried to kick me out of school for it. It was a lot, and to go through the case fast, I was convicted of petty larceny. They didn't have enough evidence to convict me. So I had to either go to trial, which Virginia is a Commonwealth state where they can make up their own rules on certain occasions and change laws, and I didn't want to do that. Or I could take this petty larceny charge. I took the petty larceny. So you pled out. I pled out to petty larceny. And the reason I wanted to talk about it is that peer pressure of feeling like I had to be down affected everything that I did. That petty larceny charge was on my record for 15 years. Yes. Where anytime I would try to travel and make money, it was always a situation. They always put me into another room.
Especially in Canada.
And they would ask me about it all the time, and it would just be embarrassing. It would be embarrassing, all because I tried to fit in.
Right.
And you realize...
Real Estate Rico, djenvy, we hear this man admit that he said the other day he's never stole anything, but now on the podcast with his wife, the nigga said, hey, I stole it all.
But for anybody to say I was involved, that's totally not true. I would never. I've been on radio close to 30 years, and never in my 30 years time did I do nothing but try to uplift people and show people a different way through the business mind, and I would never take a dollar from somebody.
Hey, Flex, don't worry, man. I'm going to make sure you audio because it's important for people to know the character of people like this that's on the radio airwaves out.
All right, guys. So you heard the gist of that. And listen, like I was saying, people can change, but they rarely do unless they have to, or there's like a really good reason for it. Almost like life or death, right? And I believe, unfortunately, even though he said that this was on his record for 15 years, petty larceny or whatever it was called, he called it, I believe that because of all of the acclaim he was getting for having a well-known name and having the access that he had and the opportunities that came to him, he was able to kind of overlook that past, kind of forget about it, because sometimes people do that, unfortunately, because I believe when you go through those things, it's supposed to be a reminder for you to hopefully repel you from going down that road again so that you don't continuously become a common career criminal. But I believe that because he kind of forgot, maybe in a way, I'm not saying he like completely forgot, but you get what I'm saying. And things were going well for him, and one opportunity became another opportunity, and he was able to get this really flashy, expensive car, and got another one, and another one. Was living this lifestyle that it just kind of became okay. And I don't believe that he was unaware of what Cesarpina was doing. And he just said so many different things. You know, he said that he would never in his over 30 years ever steal anything from anyone, but yet and still you did. You did. So you may have done it differently this time where you didn't actually take people's money. Caesar was the one that was actually receiving the money, but you benefited from it. You benefited from it. And it's almost similar to what he has admitted to doing in the past. He wasn't the one that was actually, really stealing, I guess, in a way, of the things, but he was involved. So I know he's pissed. I know he doesn't want people talking about it. And I know there's some people that are saying Tony the Closer, he's just a clout chaser and he's just growing his YouTube channel and his followers and subscribers and selling merch and all these other things he's doing. And those things, multiple things could be true at the same time. Who really cares? The truth is the truth. And if these things have happened, he has to be held accountable. And that's not someone lying on him or making things up to try to take him down. That's one thing. And I think that's something that we need to, especially in the African American community, need to stop doing. Not holding up people in their wrong so you make comments like you're just trying to tear down a black man and it's always us against our own and different things like that. And it's like, no, you need to flip that script. You need to turn that table. Those people who claim that they were trying to uplift the community and they're scamming them, those are the ones that need to be exposed. They need to be taken down because they're taking advantage of you. They're taking advantage of your friends, your loved ones, the people that look like you. They should not get a pass because of what they look like. Period. So, this is the reason why I wanted to talk about this, because when people talk about they want to uplift the community and they're profiting, usually it's a scam involved. And even if there's not a scam involved, they're playing on people's emotions to get into their pockets. And even that, in my personal opinion, is wrong. I mean, it happens in churches a lot as well. So I'm not giving anyone a pass. I'm not giving any entities or people a pass. I'm saying it's all wrong across the board. Am I saying that people should have to suffer and sacrifice their lives to save others? They don't have to. But usually the ones that are the true uplifters, the true servants in the community, unfortunately, this is just the way it is, but unfortunately, those are usually the ones that are sacrificing. They're not getting paid well. They're not living high off the hog. They're not living in gated communities. That's why when all that Black Lives Matter movement was going on and you was hearing all those things about Patrisse Cullors and how much money she was taking in and how she was living, I always felt like that was just bullcrap, because it's like, you're getting all of these donations in the name of Black lives, but yet you're not really doing anything for the Black or African American community. Why are you living in that community, first and foremost? Two, why aren't you building in that community? Why aren't you building resource centers, hiring people, hiring mentors, hiring coaches, building parks, doing different things like that, having things that are really going to help the community versus you living in a mansion behind a gate and, and different things like that. So this is why I wanted to talk about that. So djenvy did not do himself a favor when he made that speech on the Breakfast Club and talking about how he got into real estate and doing these seminars because he wanted to uplift the community. No, you wanted to use your status, use your name, use your likeness to get people to come to these quote unquote free seminars, but they're never really free. You get them there, you have the sales pitch, you get them in the funnels, and then you siphon down on those who are going to be willing to invest in what you have to offer, whether they can afford to do it or not. And unfortunately, a lot of these people really could not. But, and I'm not going to sit here and trash these people, because I've heard a lot of people talking about the people too. Yeah, they made mistakes, but I would never sit there and trash these people for doing what they did. I'm sure that they are having to deal with that every waking moment of their lives, and probably even when they go to sleep, they're having nightmares about it. It's not a good feeling to be in any type of situation where you are dealing with a hard struggle, whether it's health or finances. But unfortunately, when it comes to finance struggles and dealing with situations like this, unfortunately, a lot of people don't give people sympathy when it comes to financial struggles. But if someone's going through a health battle with cancer or leukemia or, or something major health-wise, they will usually get sympathy. They will usually get understanding and some grace. But when it comes to people who have dealt with financial struggles, unfortunately, a lot of these people, they don't get grace. They get kicked out on the streets if they can't afford to pay their rent or pay their mortgage. You know what I mean? And unfortunately, that's just the society that we live in. But when it comes to health battles, people, they'll put up GoFundMes for them and different things like that. You have someone try and put a GoFundMe up and say, I invested money into something and these people took my money, so I'm asking you all to help me so that I can get my money back up. They will not get probably one dime donated to them. So, so I'm not going to go there with these people and act like they are not victims. They are. It's not cool. It's not right. But these people who claim they want to uplift the community, unfortunately, it's usually a scam. But I've talked about this for as long as I want to talk about it right now. If there's more to come, I'll probably bring it back to you guys. But let me know your thoughts in the comment section, guys. Thank you so much for being here, for liking and subscribing. I'm Beth, just being beautifully honest. So until the next time, I wanted to keep it brief, beautiful, and now I'm going to say bye.